While sous chef Andy and sous chef Scott are the most talked about sous chefs from the show, let me introduce you to one of the most badass sous chefs to grace Hell's Kitchen.
Alright, you guys hungry? Yeah, you want something to eat? There you go. Eat that.
Yes, the one and only Marianne. Now, I'm not exactly sure if you knew this, but in an interview, she revealed that she had a less than stellar experience on the show. Apparently, she wasn't exactly thrilled about how bad the contestants were. She probably was frustrated with babysitting them. And it makes sense. Which reminds me, have you ever watched the Serve Raw series? Marianne just looks so done with everyone's BS.
Now, get a grip. Let's start again from fresh.
Yeah, she didn't want to engage with any of those donkeys at all. The only reason she took the plunge was from a promise she made to Chef Ramsay himself. It was a commitment to help her launch her own restaurant. Aside from that, she had absolutely no interest in schooling any of the contestants, and you could practically see how disconnected she was.
One spaghetti, one risotto, one Saint-Jacques, and one tempura.
Now, with a bit of hindsight, turns out she softened her stance. The catch? Well, now, she's only willing to jump back into the culinary ring if the contenders boast a minimum of 2 years of experience in a professional kitchen. I mean, can you blame her? But did she land that dream restaurant Chef Ramsay had promised? Well, here's some good news. She's holding it down as the executive chef at the Merchant's Restaurant in New York City. But getting a more recent update from her has been a hell of a challenge. All roads lead to a 2005 press release from the Institute of Culinary Education. I did try my luck on her LinkedIn, but it's a dead end for confirming if she's still running the show at Merchant's. However, what I can share are some of the greatest Marianne highlights from the show, and more importantly, the controversy surrounding some of the things that she's done. So let me start from the third service of season 1. Before the first orders rolled in, Chef Ramsay revealed that two globally recognized food critics, Melissa Clark and Kate Crater, were seated in the dining room.
Every table that leaves the kitchen, you treat as a critic. Yes. Is that clear, yes?
I think you get how challenging and intimidating that was, right? Now, Jeff messed up big time, serving 2 lobster spaghetti dishes. One with no lobster and the other having more lobster than pasta.
How can we have 2 spaghetti on the same table? One has got no lobster in it, the other one's rammed with lobster. Work that one out, Jeff.
In the end, Michael had to swoop in and help Jeff salvage the situation.
Say thank you, Mike. Say thank you, Mike.
Well, you can always leave it to Marianne to teach these guys some manners, huh? And just then, Jeff, blaming his lack of line experience, got into it with her, and things were already being heated up.
Jeff, do you want him to cook your meat for you too?
What do you want me to do? I've never been on a fucking line before. Are you fucking talking to me right now? Are you?
Things got so bad that Chef Ramsay had to play referee to cool things down. Yeah, I'm starting to get why Marianne hated the contestants with a passion. Now, even though Jeff wasn't exactly a pro on the line by any means, the critics surprisingly liked what he was serving. About 30 minutes into the chaos, Jeff sent out his lobster spaghetti and it finally got the nod from Clark. Now this is where things got really dicey. Jeff called out for 5 minutes on the lamb, but Chef Ramsay hit the roof, reminding him that he asked for 4.
Got 5 minutes.
Oh, no. Lambast, I want in fucking 4 minutes.
Yes,
if I had to listen to you all night long, no one would get served.
Yes.
I'll do the lamb if you can't do it.
Accusations flew left and right, with Chef Ramsay laying it on Jeff for doing his own thing. And, well, in no uncertain terms, he ordered him to move pronto.
Look at them out there. Look at those tickets.
I understand, Chef.
Move your ass!
2 hours into the dinner service, and the red team only managed to dish out 2 entrees. Chef Ramsay grilled Jeff about his station, and he pointed fingers at Michael, claiming that he got shoved aside. But Chef Ramsay gave Jeff a reality check about the struggling kitchen and the hungry customers left waiting. And then came the accusation. Chef Ramsay laid it on thick, telling Jeff that he was actually getting worse in the kitchen.
Now he's blaming Michael.
I'm not blaming anybody, Chef.
The longer you're here, the worse you're getting.
Well, to be fair, it was the first season and they did know the templates. So if I were to give anyone a pass for that, it'd be them. Still, you should never talk back to Chef Ramsay. Just want to make that clear. But that's when things hit a breaking point. Jeff decided that he'd had enough, declared that he was done, and started making a beeline for the exit. However, Chris tried talking him off the ledge at the 11th hour, reminding him that he wasn't a quitter.
Because I'm not a quitter.
You're not a quitter. Hey, you're not a fucking cook either.
Now, Jeff shot back at Chef Ramsay, calling him an asshole under his breath. But look who heard him. Marianne caught wind of that and wasn't in the mood to let it slide. She demanded that he say it louder.
You're an asshole.
What was that? What did you just say? I want you to say it louder. I want you to say it louder, Chef. I want you to say it louder, Chef.
And what did Jeff do?
You're an asshole.
That's not cool, Jeff.
Yeah, calling Chef Ramsay an asshole right to his face. Some say it was brave, most others, including myself, would call it stupid. There's a thin line, isn't there? Anyway, that was not the final straw. Jeff peeled off his jacket and walked out of Hell's Kitchen. Now get this, a Redditor posted an angry rant about Marianne for this. Sous Chef Marianne Season 1 to Season 3 is a snitch. They wrote, and yes, I'm specifically talking about the time she ratted Jeff out for calling Gordon Ramsay an asshole under his breath. She was for sure being a bootlicking snitch when she should have just shut up and cook. They went on to say that someone needed to say it, and Jeff did it for them. But oh, wait, that wasn't all. The Redditor went on to say, and before you all jump down my throat for calling her a bootlicker and a rat bitch, know this. I don't give a fuck about brigade or chain of command leadership. What I do care about is people not having the basic human decency to keep their mouth shut and mind their business. Marianne wanted to get Jeff in trouble because she thought it'd be funny. It's not. It's unprofessional and she should have just shut the fuck up and cooked instead of being a snitch. Like, chill, dude, what the hell? But at the same time, two things can be simultaneously true, right? One, Chef Ramsay was a bit harsh telling Jeff that he wasn't a chef. I mean, a comment like that can break any man's spirit. But it's not the most professional move to label Chef Ramsay himself an asshole. Marianne was second in command. It would be understandable if she were on equal footing with Jeff, but she had a position of authority and, in my opinion, a duty to act. Failing to address such behavior would not only compromise her professional integrity, but also risk appearing disloyal. So, in other words, having Gordon Ramsay's back? That was part of her job description.
Chef Ramsay will be here in 45 minutes.
Now, I'm actually really curious to know if you have a different perspective. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. But now, let's skip all the way to Season 2's first service. As the kitchen geared up for the evening service, Virginia was looking for guidance from Rachel on how long to cook the chicken. The red team's initiation into the night's order occurred approximately 17 minutes after the restaurant opened its doors. However, Polly, stationed at the appetizer station, encountered some early challenges. So Rachel, Maribel, and sous chef Marianne rallied to Polly's aid.
Come on, Polly. You've got a spaghetti, a scallop, and the risotto coming out.
Right. Let's go, Polly, please. Come on.
A mere 20 minutes into the dinner service, her first attempt at the risotto proved to be really problematic. It was overcooked, adhering to the plate and missing essential ingredients like mushrooms. It was disgusting. I mean, just look at this.
And where's the mushrooms? They're right in there. Yeah, and why is it stiff?
Chef Ramsay asked Polly if she was really cool with sending out something like that, especially with all the backup and collective effort she'd benefited from.
Are you happy to send that?
No, sir, I'm not.
Get it in the bin and start again.
You probably get why Marianne was irked, right? Despite all the guidance, the contestants kept being a huge screw-up. And if I was in her place, I'd be really frustrated too. Anyway, 1 hour into the service, and the customers have been stuck with just bread since the beginning. And this is when Chef Ramsay turned to Polly for a time on the refire. Polly called it at 6 minutes, but Sarah, trying to steal the spotlight, chimed in with 2 minutes. But the famous chef demanded to know who was in charge of the appetizers.
2 minutes, chef.
Oh, girls, come on.
No, 6 minutes.
6 minutes?
6
Who's running
minutes,
the
chef.
section?
Polly then nudged Sarah off her station, but she could have really used some extra help, I suppose. Because when Polly sent her refire to the pass, Chef Ramsay asked her to give it a taste. She realized at that moment she fucked up, saying it was bland. The famous chef wasn't having any of that and vetoed serving it, telling Polly to start from scratch.
One more cheese, one more salt. We can't, okay, all right.
Oh, she was pissed. Now, an hour and a half into the service, Polly was knee-deep in her 4th attempt at the simple risotto. Chef Ramsay, clearly fed up, remarked that they were tossing more food in the bin than he'd seen in the past decade.
You tell me now, because there's no words in my mind left to describe this.
And that's when he decided to shuffle the team.
This has been the biggest disaster of my cooking career. And right now, you are making me look fucking stupid.
Polly got moved from her station and Heather took over. So Polly became the new kitchen donkey and Heather stepped up to handle the appetizers. Now, have you ever noticed how the edits of the show sometimes tend to blow things out of proportion? Well, in Polly's case, if you watch the Serve Raw footage, I think they went easy on her. Or maybe they just couldn't keep up with the number of times she messed up. I lost count after Polly single-handedly messed up that team's game that night.
I cannot go any fucking further.
Can we add them to that?
I am fucking done.
The man was brought to his knees. But Marianne was catching some serious flack from Chef Ramsay thanks to Polly's never-ending blunders.
Marianne, I just want some fucking food out, yes?
Working, chef.
Okay, let's go, Polly.
Wait, there's more.
Marianne, I want the salad in the centre, a little bit of scallop underneath.
Yes, chef, yes,
I've
chef.
said it 8 times, that's what I want, yes?
Yes, chef.
I mean, when you watch the unedited version, you gotta applaud their patience. Anyway, coming back to the service, Heather rocked the appetizer station in the red kitchen, sending out an acceptable risotto in just 3 minutes. Sarah got a bit too excited and started cheering, but Heather quickly hushed her down. Chef Ramsay, not one to let things slide, heard the commotion and called out to Sarah, schooling her on keeping things together. According to the famous chef, there was no reason to celebrate, considering how it took almost 2 hours to get the first table served.
I wouldn't laugh or scream or start wetting your knickers because that is embarrassing.
Yes, chef.
When those 2 excruciating hours finally came to an end, both teams wrapped up their appetizers, and now the heat was on Virginia and Gabe. They were the ones holding down the meat stations. He found himself in a tight spot, needing an extra 10 minutes because his oven just wasn't bringing the heat. And his Wellingtons, well, they weren't hitting the mark.
Chef, the oven wasn't hot enough and it didn't get well done. I'm not gonna give it to you not well done.
Oh, come on, Gabe.
And if you're gonna ruin one of Chef Ramsay's most iconic dishes, you're gonna be on the receiving end of his disappointment.
10 minutes, and we are so far in the shit, it's incredible.
Meanwhile, over in the red kitchen, Virginia encountered some similar troubles. She presented undercooked Wellingtons to the pass, and Chef Ramsay, not letting any slip up, told her to scrap it and start over.
The meat is not cooked. Get it in the bin.
Okay.
She seemed lost in the menu, struggling to answer Chef Ramsay's questions. But the famous chef was in no mood for menu details. He just wanted some damn food at the pass.
I'm unprepared, I don't know the menu, I don't know the times,
I don't care what else is not ready, I just want some food now.
In a later mix-up, Virginia couldn't locate the lamb sauce and attempted to pass off the veal sauce instead. Sous chef Marianne promptly nixed that idea, telling her that it was a no-go.
I have a whole bunch of lamb stock, veal stock. There's no way in hell we can pass this off as fucking lamb sauce.
Oh, she was done. In a last-ditch effort, Virginia dashed into the blue kitchen, desperately seeking Keith's help with some lamb sauce. However, Keith shut that down, firmly asking her to head back to her kitchen.
Please, you guys?
No way.
You guys don't know if you might need something in the future.
I don't give a fuck.
The rejection left Virginia feeling even more disheartened, but it was funny to watch Keith's response nonetheless. Anyway, that service was a disaster and was shut down.
I can't take any more. Shut it down.
Serious question though, what kind of people shout like that at a high-end restaurant? Those lines were obviously fed to them by the producers. Then, during the lunch service challenge, when Sarah cut her finger, sous chef Marianne and Rachel stepped in promptly to assist in getting her injury sorted out quickly.
I just cut my finger on that.
How did you cut yourself? You're making pizza.
Sarah's response was less than appreciative.
Hold it up above your heart.
Okay, give me a minute, please. 1 minute to myself. That's all I need.
Their team lost and got slapped with a cleaning duty, dealing with the aftermath of what felt like a wild kids party in the dining room. Sarah decided to lighten the mood by inhaling some helium, making weird sounds, and playing with water during the punishment. But Rachel wasn't having it. She busted her butt to help the team out, and Sarah's carefree vibe seemed like she couldn't care less about winning. Later, things boiled over, and Rachel and Sarah got into a pretty intense argument about Sarah's attitude.
Oh, my wrist.
You think it's funny just cutting up and
I don't think it's funny, I just think you're a bitch.
You think I'm a bitch?
To cap the day off, sous chef Marianne, clearly fed up with Sarah's childish antics, brought in a cake for lunch and chucked it on the floor in frustration.
Another cake still, hold on.
Damn, that was kinda badass. It's a shame Marianne didn't stick around for long. This kind of tension in the kitchen is part of what made the earlier seasons so unique, something that seems to be missing in the newer ones. But not all viewers have the same opinion. Here's what some of them said, let me know if you agree. Most pre-Andy sous chefs are just straight up assholes in my opinion. No constructive criticism like Ramsay or any attempt to motivate the chefs. Just bullying. Another wrote, I do feel like the early sous chefs went a bit too hard on the contestants, given that most of them were just amateurs and didn't know much. I find some of the criticisms of sous chef Scott very valid. He was aggressive and a misogynist though. However, I don't think Marianne can be put in the same category. Moving on, in Season 3, as both teams geared up for their service, they faced a mountain of prep. 15 menu items and over 300 ingredients. Julia, eager to contribute, found herself in a bit of a solo act, despite her repeated attempts to help.
All I'm trying to do is get people to communicate with me. I'm just gonna keep talking to them until they talk to me.
Even with her persistent inquiries, the team seemed to give her the cold shoulder. Noticing the breakdown in communication amongst the women, sous chef Marianne stepped in, urging them to start talking.
Okay, guys, I need you guys to talk to each other.
However, Joanna's leadership skills left much to be desired. She not only pushed away Julia from prepping, but also got into a squabble with Bonnie over the risotto. Bonnie, in turn, was left itching to throw a punch at Joanna. Meanwhile, sous chef Marianne just couldn't help but worry about the lack of teamwork and harmony amongst the women.
Something is burning.
She was horrified. Maybe that was the moment she decided this was gonna be her last season working with such shocking levels of dumb fuckery. And Joanna and the rest of the red team were frankly very condescending towards Julia because she didn't have the same experience as them. But when did Chef Ramsay ever care for experience or fancy titles? In fact, even Marianne was supportive and nurturing towards Julia. Well, let me now draw your attention to what happened in the Army and Navy Service Challenge. Here, the teams were tasked with serving breakfast to both units. While the men took on the Navy, the women were in charge of the Army. The assignment struck a chord with Julia, who found it deeply honorable to cook for the military. As the service kicked off, sous chef Marianne saw potential in Julia and nudged her to take on a leadership role, especially considering her background in cooking breakfast professionally.
I'm looking at you to be the leader today, right? That's me.
Julia took the responsibility very seriously and dived into her newfound role head first. She efficiently delegated the tasks to her teammates across different stations and food items. Marianne's instincts about Julia proved spot on, and she delivered a stellar performance. The women kicked off strong, getting food out to 20 tables in just 17 minutes. But then, the kitchen hit a speed bump. One of Joanna's orders of hash browns got sent back for being raw. That hiccup threw off their momentum, leaving Bonnie feeling very frustrated. To add to the chaos, Joanna sent out another raw and salty hash brown. The famous chef, clearly fed up, laid into her about her attitude and inconsistency.
Complain is to come back from there, yeah? I want one scrambled egg, one omelette, again.
Despite the setback, Julia managed to rally the women together and get them back on track. The women pulled off their final orders, securing the win. Chef Ramsay gave a shout out to Julia for her stellar performance and threw her a curveball. He told her to hop over to the blue kitchen and assist the men in sorting things out. With Julia in the mix, the men got their act together and successfully served all their tables.
Julia, you were exceptional. Don't clear down, get in there and help them finish.
Then, in episode 7, after losing the leftovers challenge, the women faced a double whammy of punishment: spring cleaning and delivery day. Julia ended up with an unfortunate bag spill during the cleanup, and Bonnie, not impressed with her situation, grumbled about the seemingly better deal the men got.
Can we get turbot? Crab. Turbot.
Nice, fresh.
Okay.
As they tackled their deliveries, Bonnie took charge to ensure they had everything they needed. However, when they brought everything inside, things went sideways. Julia noticed that they received boxes and boxes of turbot skeletons instead of whole fillets.
Where's the rest of the fish?
What?
Jen, on the other hand, was less than impressed with the dramatic vibe. The plot really thickened as sous chef Marianne and Scott did a thorough check on the list.
Did you guys even check the order at all? We'll go through every single thing and see how many things you guys fucked up.
Julia called her mistake for what it was: pretty terrible, emphasizing the need for a meticulous check of the invoice.
You guys have been cooking snapper for how long now? This is snapper come with the skin on or off?
The series of mistakes prompted a callback for the delivery truck, pushing the women's team to rectify their errors late into the night. Marianne's annoyance with Bonnie was very justified, and it was about to grow even stronger the next day during prep.
Feeling lonely, stuck with the boys?
Bonnie unintentionally tossed out the monkfish, thinking it had a rancid smell. Sous chef Marianne didn't hold back and gave her an earful, especially since Bonnie discarded all 23 portions intended for the service.
There was like 23 portions and then there was still another like pan full of them, right?
I've been that. It smells.
What?
To make matters worse, sous chef Scott chimed in, stating that the fish didn't actually smell that bad.
Scott, does it smell bad too?
It smells like monkfish.
God, the amount of food wastage that happens on this show is appalling to watch. You could honestly feed a small town with everything that got thrashed. Meanwhile, Bonnie dodged a major bullet with Marianne and Scott not making a big fuss about the monkfish mishap. If Chef Ramsay had caught wind of what had went down, things would have gotten very ugly. Season 3 is the last time we saw Marianne. Do you think she'll ever make a comeback? Let me know in the comment section down below, and don't forget to let me know who your favorite sous chef from the show is. Also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on my post notifications. And if you thought this video was crazy, make sure to check out my social media pages and watch this next video right here. I promise it's totally worth your time.